Greetings, Chuggalos, and welcome to episode 75 of the Brew Crew podcast shorts. I am Matt, and unfortunately, we do not have a mothership episode this week. I was going to do one. I've been thinking about notes. JT's out of state right now doing amazing things. I was vacillating back and forth whether I was going to do a full freight episode, and I started jotting down notes. And I came home. I just had one of those days at work where I didn't want. It's a Monday. I didn't want to be there. I feel like this last weekend I didn't recover mentally as much as I wanted to. A lot of it was spent working on a puzzle that I got, a pinball 500-piece balsa wood. It's a real puzzle. But man, was that such a time sap. So I'd have, I could feel my cortisol and my stress levels rising. So I'd have a cocktail or something kind of to cool me down a little bit. But it was so intense. And a lot of the pieces were the size of a grain of rice. So trying to manipulate these pieces to make this pinball. And it turned out beautiful. And it was a well-received gift. But I probably invested 12, 13, 14 hours into it. And while it was fun in the process, it just didn't allow me to disengage my mind very much for the weekend. So again, going back and forth on whether I was going to do a full freight episode or not, I thought there's a couple of things that I want to talk about over with JT. I'm going to lay the groundwork for him on today's episode or today's short, and then hopefully next week we'll be able to start answering and developing some of those questions. Today, while I go through some of my thoughts, if you will, today I'm going to have 450 North Digger Dugger. And being a video game geek, you'll understand why I bought this. I actually have a small Dig Dug arcade that was gifted to me by Chuggalo Mikey. So I'm going to go on the crack on this, but the stats on this is a Slushy XL. Love the 450, guys. This is a Blackberry Dirt Pudding Parfait. Interesting. I didn't know that when I grabbed this. It's a smoothie style sour ale. And let me get the ABV on this one quick. I'm going to guess 4 to 5. 5.3. So we'll go for the crack on this one. I'm excited. I just got done working out. Again, left work, decided to work out, changed the brights on my car, which was relatively easy. It took me under 10 minutes to do it. And so anyways, super productive day, but now I'm just trying to disengage from reality a little bit before I get to the rest of the list of things I need to get done. First impressions, wow. 100% the blackberry parfait, almost like a melted ice cream. That dirt pudding, I always think of my first run-in with dirt pudding was my uncle 30 years ago put a fake potted plant and the crushed up Oreos. But this was 30 years ago, and I was just and he set the plant on the table in front of my grandma, takes the plant out and takes a spoon and starts eating it. My grandma was aghast. She had no clue what was going on. But, this is before, the internet was very prevalent, and they read it in, a Good Housekeeping or magazine when you had to do your reading and you couldn't just, click on clickbait articles or watch the Brew Crew podcast. This is phenomenal. It's a 450 North, so, again, it's not as fruity. The blackberry is there, but it's meant to be way more the dessert aspect of it, that dirt pudding parfait, than the blackberry. The blackberry is an interesting choice. I'm sure just on the color aspect of it and the reason why they went with that. So I want to get to it. We'll talk again next week about it when JT's thoughts. But those of you, specific shout out to Jillian, Chuggalo Jillian and Chuggalo Cole Stark that want more Stev. We're going to have Stev more on the podcast. The reason why we don't is just because when we choose to record, when work's into our schedule, it would pull Stev from his hours. I know he's available. We're going to start working. We're going to start blending that. Again, the dream is, I know we joke about it all the time about giving him producer credit or whatever. If we become bigger, it'd be to give him a mic, but to also have him interject because, again, as both Jillian and Cole Stark said, he gives a different perspective. one, he's of a different age, of a different generation, but two, his sweet spot for beer is vastly different than mine and JT's. So it's a perspective that we want. It was crazy. We've been doing a 2-person podcast for the preponderance of the last 3 years. Sorry, Stacy. Getting that third voice, which is what we started with. It's interesting how much we try to cram into a show and how long we go. Last week was just over an hour. We've tried to bring it down below an hour, but it got up there and it went really fast. There was more stuff we probably could have talked about, but JT had that hard out, so I wanted to respect that and end the recording with the typical exit. So yes, we have heard you. We want to get Stev more on, and we love that the Chuggalo family is embracing more and more of the characters that we have. Phil, the Up North crew, and Chuggalo Stev for sure, number one. Today is a very special day in Ohio. It is June 19th, or June 12th, excuse me, and Busch Light Peach is supposed to be coming out. So Busch Light just updated their Facebook page. We've heard the 19th, we've heard the 12th. I've already thrown in a Facebook message to Pat over here at Halls, where I grab a lot of my beer from, just so he usually lets me know when they get in stuff, specifically if I ask. So I'm hoping as soon as that hits the floor, I can run over there and get a couple of cases. Even though I'm not a big peach guy, but I know JT is. So even if they're a bust for me, it's just more beer that I can give JT. So again, we're at that season. Hopefully, we're gonna have it in our hands soon, and we can go from there. The biggest news, and what I wanted to talk about as I still drink and enjoy this beer, is the Advent calendar. And you're going to be like, Matt, it's June. The Advent calendar isn't for another 5 months, almost to the day. Well, what JT and I want to do, and Stev, is we want to give a heads up to Sarah, our friends down at Barrel House. And she offered this last year, and we kind of slow played it a little bit. But I'm hoping with through the podcast, through announcements or whatever, and we can make a drop dead date, I'm hoping that we can just empower Sarah to order beer, like, desirable beers from all around the country, because what we have done the last 2 years, and they've been amazing calendars, is we've just gone from their stock. But Sarah has offered, if we get her a number of calendars that we want, she can order beer. And that's what I want to do. So if you are at all interested in an Advent calendar, and believe me, the price, last year we were $230, the year before we were right about there. This year it would probably be a little bit more expensive, going after some of the sought after, highly rated beers. But again, bigger, more, better. That's the goal always with this Advent calendar. Is please drop either of us a line, either on the Facebook account or our private accounts, and let us know that you're interested. Last year we did 11 calendars, and I still got most of them to Wisconsin, the people that I purchased for. I know JT and Chuggalo Caterade, they split one. Stev had one, Phil, but I'm hoping we can at least get to 15. But if we get a number that we can give Barrel House Sarah, that way it helps her order. And, I'll go into like negotiations or whatever, but if you're at all interested, please let myself or JT know. That way we can aggregate this, and I will talk to her, and we'll bring this up during the mothership too, because the mothership shows definitely have a lot more spin-off, than a lot more gravitas than the shorts. We can use that information, and then we can get much more highly sought after or lauded beers. Because I know there's people last year, again, we had 11, and there was people that were trying to order them like 2 hours into the build process, like when I was starting to post on social media and on Untapped. So I know 15 is doable, but if we can get even higher than that, and again, we'll figure out how to distribute them or drive them to certain places or whatever. It might be a challenge to ship it, but it's a conversation that we could have. If we have to individually wrap them or whatever, like that's something that we would be able to do. So again, if you're interested, drop a comment below. We're going to bring it up on the mothership. I know it's going to be the number one thing. We're going to talk about it probably quite a bit next week. I know JT's on board with this, but again, you'll be able to hear his commentary on it live and in front of everyone. But again, we get excited for it. By the end of the month, I'm not gonna lie, it's long. Doing 24 days of just one beer. But it's so worth it, and the excitement of actually building it in person and going through that day and starting it off at Tanks. There's news on that front. We can get into that too. But again, there's an opportunity for growth there, and I know a lot of people have shown interest. But back to this Dig Dug beer. Again, they're getting into this. They have a Mortal Kombat beer out now that's like Mortal Kombat art inspired. Again, like such a fun game, and just definitely of my generation, growing up, old school Nintendo hard type stuff, and even, stand up arcade. I'm about halfway done with this beer, a 5.3, a delight at that. I don't know if I'd be able to have more than one, maybe two. It's not as heavy as some of these slushy XLs. They have a lot more weight, a lot more bloat to them, a lot more filling aspect. This one's a little bit, it doesn't have that as much. Maybe it's just where I am in the day, and I haven't had much to eat at all today. So maybe that's where it is. But with this beer, off the top rope, man, that dirt pie, it just elicits positive memories. Again, my uncle with the first time that I found out like that Oreo chocolate pudding type pie, and that's what I picture for dirt pie. Off the top rope, I'm at a 4.75 on this. Blackberry's good. It's not in my S tier list of fruits, but it's either A or B tier. It's not down there with oranges or watermelons or anything like that. But yeah, this is a groovy beer. 4.75. I dig this. I think the price point on this 4-pack was only $26, which I say that, but 450 is known to have $40 4-pack beers. And it was interesting because I was down at Barrel House, the aforementioned Barrel House yesterday, and they had a 450 on tap. I didn't get that one, but again, that's a credit to your craft and what you do and what you choose to do, because when they put that on tap, they have to clean that line twice because of the slushies, because of the viscosity and the weight of that beer. So again, that says a lot to your customer base if you're able to move that product. And the love that you put into what you do and what you deliver, the fact that you have to clean that line twice before you could put another product on it. Because again, you can't even put another slushy on it or whatever. You have to clean that line twice, let it dry, and then go again. It's amazing. So a credit to our friends again down there at Barrel House. A+. I went to Warped Wing and Barrel House yesterday. Both of them were fantastic. The weather was cool, a slight breeze. So it was nice to be outside with both of those. Awesome opportunities to get out into the community and to spread some greenback love, if you will. But that's it for this short. I could have made this. I feel like I truncated a lot of things. I could have carried this episode for 30 to 35 minutes. But I decided to leave a little bit of meat on the bone for next week, when it will be JT and myself back with the mothership. Who knows? Maybe we'll have something special planned. But until then, Chuggalos, keep the beer cold and have a good one. Cheers.